It's day 315. Obviously, some of you'll know I had my Pfizer jab yesterday. Not looking forward to the one in sort of 6 weeks' time, because today I feel awful, and I had a feeling I might feel awful. So I did a little bit of filming yesterday, some of the different things and some of the different questions that people have been asking over the last week. So here it is. We've just come down to where the flood is. It's slowly disappearing, but we've had so much rain this January. It's been the wettest January we've ever recorded, and my dad's measured the rain for sort of 45 years. All the sweet corn now is totally on the floor, and the pigeons and the swans and every other bit of wildlife's now eating it. There's still some stood up over there, so if we get any more snow, then at least it's accessible to the birds then. It's a little bit windy here. I forgot to bring my microphone. Stephen got me a microphone for my birthday with like a fluffy thing on to stop the wind noise. I forgot to bring it out. This is where the pumps suck the water from. You still can't see, these steps go all the way down, and that's a handrail at sort of waist height, so you can see how high the water still is in there. But there's basically a big grill, and all the water comes into this ditch that runs that way. And all the land drains on this land that sank because of the mining subsidence underneath. So when they took the coal out of the ground, all the ground then sunk, and because it sunk, it then started to flood, and then the ground ended up lower than the stream next to it. So these pumps, this is just the electrics for, and the pumps are in a well underneath. They basically pump the water out the low-lying ground that's below the ditch level up into the ditch. So if you look now, you can see it bubbling out down there, and that's him running flat out, trying to get that water off that field. That field, to be fair, has pretty much had water on it all of January, because they physically just can't keep up with the amount of rain that we've been getting. The stream is still quite heavily blocked. We did clean a lot of it out in the summer ourselves, but it wants the silt taken out of it really. So if the level drops a bit more, we'll get our machine in and we'll do this side, and then we'll probably have to go on Danny's side and do the other side, because we can't quite reach all the way across. Some places where the banks are quite high, we run out of reach on the digger. But we can only do our bit, of course. The bit further downstream, where it goes through the golf club, where it goes through the housing estates and all that, really the environment agency should do that, because it's their job. It used to be called the National Rivers Authority after all. We can't do it. We can't just go charging through other people's ground with diggers. So they should, because if we clean our bit, all that does is it just means that then it's the silt up there, and it still backs up. It won't start at the sea and working out to us. So at the other farm, the stream is actually tidal. That's how close to the sort of the mouth of the River Mersey, which is the sea, is really. And it does need doing. Hope you can hear me because of the drone on the motorway, but this is the weather station we've got. It's a Send Crop one. Got it sort of like last April time. So it's got a little SIM card in it that transmits the wind speed, which is measured by these cups, wind direction, which is measured by that weather vane on the top, to my phone and the cloud, and then other people have them, and we have access to each other, so we can see where the weather fronts are coming from and different things. And the more data we can collect, the better, because it means they can also predict the weather. This is the one that measures the rain. It's got little spikes on the top. It's got birds pooing on or anything like that. And I think it's French, but we won't hold it against anyone for that. But yeah, really good system. Dead easy to use, dead easy to read. In fact, that's the point actually while I'm on about France. If anyone's in fact, anyone anywhere that's watching these videos, do us a favour, just put in the comments box if you've got time where you live. Because according to YouTube, there's people watching in Germany, New Zealand, Australia, and even those watching in England. It'd be nice if you just put, I don't know, your county that you live in, then I can just see sort of how far these videos actually go, because you just don't know. Most of the time I'm just looking at an iPhone 11, this is what everything's shot on. I'm just talking about that, but it'd be good to know who's out there listening and watching and who finds it interesting as well. I'll put a picture up now of the rainfall for like this January anyway. Like I say, it's the wettest ever recorded on this farm. Someone was asking the other day about the Merlots, how many we've got. We have 2 that are our own. There's often different ones in the yard that are other people's. They're both 3810s, 140 horsepower, Deutz engines, AdBlue unfortunately. But because the 10 metre, 3.8 tonnes for 10 metres, and the triple section booms, you've got one section of boom, another section of boom, another section of boom. This means that they can go to 10 metres, but they're no bigger, no wider, and no longer than 7 metre machines, so they're really manoeuvrable, but they've got a lot of reach, which is great for pushing grain up, pushing green waste up, levelling chip on the floor, things like that, and stockpiling things. We've had Merlots now since 2001. We keep trying other machines. Nothing will do the same thing for its size. Unfortunately, we do always, when they change models and different things, have sort of teething trouble with them. Often stupid oil leaks. So like we've had one last week a few times. It kept letting oil out of a sensor. Anyway, it's basically they've changed the sensor because the sensors were failing, but it's not compatible with the part they're screwing it into, so they've had to modify it again. But you do feel like it's product development for Merlot sometimes. But they are great machines. They do a lot of hours. I think the other day I was saying that this one had done 1,200 hours. Came in March last year. It hasn't actually. It's done nearly 1,500 hours. So they get used all the time. They're on Michelin tyres. They don't make much mess in the field, and they're also comfy on the road. They do about 45k on the road, which is pretty good. And they've all got aircon. A lot of people with eagle eyes noticed this the other day in the back of the video and wanted to know what had happened to it. It was basically a slurry tanker. So it's Adam's, and I was using it a few weeks ago, cleaning something out, and the pipe on the end stuck to the floor of what it was cleaning out. So it couldn't suck any harder, it couldn't suck any material up or any water or slurry. So instead, it collapsed. It like sucked itself in. So it's basically the opposite of an explosion. It's what it's called an implosion. So it's twisted it now, so it's basically knackered. So we might take the top off and put a new tank on it and use it for a bowser for the sprayer. It's a bit of a shame because it was in like mint condition, but it's obviously not now. A few people were asking as well about the bucket that we were using on Friday, or Richard was, for screening soil. It's basically got these stars and they spin in opposite directions, and what you do is you scoop the material up. I'll flip the camera. You scoop the material up in the front, curl it round so it's sat like that, and then you've basically got that roller deck that the soil's sat on, and you spin them rollers in different directions, and it just basically rattles the soil through the little holes between them, and then what's left inside will be like your stones and your bits of plastic and your bits of wood, and you just tip them to one side. So I think it's made in Finland by a company called Remu. But how do you get a kit? It just goes on the digger, fixed to the lines that you'd use for a hammer circuit or what we use for the grab. But the soil that comes out of it's really fluffy, really nice to rake, and it's great for people and putting on the gardens and stuff like that, especially under turf. And if anyone wants one, it's come from Worsley Plant. I thought there was a sticker on it. Where's the sticker? I don't know where the sticker is, but it's come from Worsley Plant. So Sean there will sort you out if anyone wants one. It's where the grab come from as well. Yeah, so these are yesterday's quiz question, and what they are is, we'll flip the camera around, the magnets, and they collect all the bits and bobs going up the auger through the chip. They're that powerful that it sticks to the inside. So every week or so we undo these bolts, take this lid off and pull all the bits and bobs that are stuck to it, and then that stops it jamming the ash augers. It's quiz time. Does anyone know what that is in there? There's a little bit of a clue in the bottom right of the screen, and also what's wrong with it. So people didn't mind some was pre-recorded, because normally it's live, it's as it happens every day. Well, thanks everyone that's new, that's watching and subscribing, and like I say, leave a comment where you're listening from, watching from, or whatever, and I'll see you all tomorrow, and hopefully I'll feel a bit better. Sorry, one last thing, someone asked which tractor we use the drainer on, and I did forget to say. So we use it on the fast track because it's got it's better ballast, and it doesn't pick it up as well as the Fendt, but it's got a bit more weight, and obviously it's got 4-wheel steer, which helps. But we have to use it on a tractor with a Vario gearbox. The Fendt and the fast track both do. We can't use it on any of Adam's John Deere's. Oh, actually no, one of his is a Vario, but it does struggle to pick it up. But yeah, sometimes you can be down to sort of like 100 metres an hour. Sometimes you can be up to 500-600 metres an hour. I think we once put a roll of 100 metres of pipe in 6 minutes. That was when we very first got it. We knew what we were doing with it. Well, the demo guy was here. But anyway, I'm going now. I'm going to go back to bed. So I'll see you all tomorrow.